Hello everybody, it's Amber Awesome. Former new viewers, welcome. Former two new viewers, welcome back. I'll notice I'm in a new clan. It's called the Bad Times Crew. We've only got 2 people right now, me and my friend Meowmits, who's helped me with some videos before. We battled each other a little bit today. And today is the global release of Battlegram. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys got it from the challenge, the Battlegram challenge. I did too. I made a deck with it earlier, right here. I'm not going to use it on ladder since my Battlegram's only level 1. Now I could get the special offer from the shop, but I'm not going to. Don't need to. So I played Meowmits with that a few times. And since the Goblin Gang information has been released globally, it says spawn 6 goblins, 3 with knives, 3 with spears, at a discounted elixir cost. It's like a goblin value pack. And I think that having it at 3 elixir is going to be really necessary. Because, like, I tried battling a few times, I think 8 times, with a deck that had both spear goblins and goblins under only the rule. That's what I'm looking for. Wow, that took a long time. That I had to use the 2 cards together. Now, this is the deck I was using, right there under the victory and the defeat. Those are the 2 decks. That's the same deck. That's the deck I was using. It's basically a chip deck. I feel like the Goblin Gang is going to be a buff to chip decks, to bait decks, not chip decks. It's a bait deck with chip damage that I was running, but I feel like it's going to be a buff to bait decks everywhere because it'll be just another card that they can use in their bait deck. So it'll also, since it's 1 card instead of 2 cards, I would have had a chance to put in other cards in my rotation, so that would have helped me out. And also would have been a cheaper elixir cost. But I'm going to show you those battles, then I'll show you some battles that I did with a Battlegram deck against Meowmits in a friendly battle. Again, we've created a new clan. It's called the Bad Times Crew. Now, the description is, good times await you in the Bad Times Crew. Because we're not the Bad Times Crew because we have bad times. It's the Bad Times Crew because we give other people bad times. Good times await you in the Bad Times Crew. So I've added 8 battles. And I'm going to choose the best 4 of those 8 battles. Now, the first one I picked out was this one right here. Wait a second, where was it? Give me just a few seconds, I gotta figure out where my deck is. Now, you notice the first one I was using a different deck, but then I switched the hog for the miner. Where is it? There it is. Alright, now this one is a good battle because I'm facing a Royal Giant deck, and I beat him. That's why I love this battle. Let's decrease the speed so you can see what's going on. There is a nice fundamental push of this deck. Now, the Princess got 2 hits off, which is a bit slow. When he missed his fireball, he hit the miner and not all the minions. So that completely wrecked his tower. You'll see here he's got the Royal Giant, but I've got Inferno Tower. I packed it for tanks, Royal Giant, and just for everything. Now I've got both parts of my Goblin Gang up, so I'm going to try that out, coming up soon. Probably using an Ice Golem to tank and maybe a Princess to support. He's got a log up right now. So when I put down my Princess, if I do, he's spilling over elixir. I don't remember what happened. No, okay. Now I'm going to Goblin Gang. Now it's 4 elixir. There he can get an amazing value log, but he doesn't for whatever reason. I believe he left the match at this point. So it's a great demonstration of how much damage the Goblin Gang does every second. Interesting thing, you couldn't see the miner's health bar because it was hidden by the King Tower's health bar. So that's the first battle I was going to show you. The next battle is one that involves Electrowiz and a Hog Elite Barb Stick. That's fairly old right now, but it was still an annoying game. So I've got half my Goblin Gang up. I would want to do the Ice Golem with Spear Goblins otherwise. Here I'm going to support that. Now if the minion horde had been put in front, it would have taken out the Inferno Tower. The Inferno Tower does an amazing job. Now, if I had logged it faster, my princess would have had to be countered. This way I can get the hog with it, although it wasn't really that necessary. I still don't know he has the Electro Whiz. I think really what killed me in this match was he had Zap, Electro Whiz, and Fireball, all of which are good for taking out my bait deck. And that's just enough stuff. But since I only had, I think, 3 cards that I was baiting with, and he had 3 cards to avoid it with, it was just not good. Also, this Elite Barbs push, it wrecked me. I didn't have enough to put down my minion horde. Not enough elixir. So look at that wrecking right there. Horrible. If I'd managed to save up for my elixir, my minion horde just once, I could have saved my tower. Instead, I'm trying to come back the entire game. And that was a really bad attempt at Goblin Gang. I was just like so low on elixir. That's kind of breaking my rules. Here he's just like wrecking me so hard. I don't know what that ice golem was for. At this point, I'm essentially freaking out, and the entire rest of the game is trash. So here, I was going to put down the Inferno Tower, which would completely stop the hog. Then he's got that stupid Skarmy to go with it, because he knows about it. This was just really well played by him, too. This princess also, that's one of the things that really killed me. He had so many cards that just killed me. And messing up on that first push, that killed me too. Now, if you mess up against his Elite Barbs, that's horrible, because they're like the old Elite Barbs, since he's got level 11. That was a good push I had coming in there, but look at the health of my King Tower. His deck completely wrecked mine. So, if Goblin Gang comes into the meta, almost like this, that'll be a sort of deck you might want to use. Princess, that's the good card right there. Does that do enough damage? No, it does not do enough damage to take out a goblin, but pretty close. One more level, I think, and it would, yeah, one more level would do it. So, another thing that would have helped me is if the Goblin Gang cost less elixir, because as it is, those 2 cards take up 2 deck spots and cost 4 elixir instead of 3 elixir. But it was still a good attempt at imitating it. Now the next match I'm going to show you is one where I fight an Executioner deck with P.E.K.K.A. Since its release, Executioner has been used quite a bit behind tanks. That's what it's designed for. So here I've got a really good push. I've got my Goblin Gang, Miner, and Princess. At this point, he has the unfortunate misfortune of putting down a P.E.K.K.A. So his Fire Spirits was kind of ineffective because the Goblin Gang had already split by range, and I have an Inferno Tower. Inferno Tower really won the game for me right here. Also, the fact that his deck is really high elixir cost because it's a P.E.K.K.A. deck. And then he's got an elixir collector in there and Elite Barbs. It's just a really high elixir cost deck. And whenever he puts down the elixir collector, I can take advantage of that with a little push right then. I think he got 1 elixir so far from the elixir collector, maybe 2. I don't know. The elixir collector, if you drop a push right when they spawn the elixir collector, though, they're down a bunch of elixir. So, then you're at an elixir advantage, basically. Here I'm putting down my Goblin Gang. I was a little bit delayed, but it was still effective enough. Now look at how fast the Goblin Gang wrecks. It does so much damage per second that only one of the Fire Spirits managed to hit. If there's anybody watching these videos who's looking for a new clan, or doesn't have much, or just wants to be in a clan with me, because if you're in a clan with me, then you can do videos with me when we're doing friendly battles. Now there, the Inferno Tower didn't do a whole lot. Just remember, if you're looking for a clan, good times await you in the bad times crew. Well, here my minion horde does quite a bit. And I decided not to add a Goblin Gang to the mix, although I might have if I had it for only 3 elixir, because then it wouldn't have been such a big investment. Now, I think I was trying to decide whether or not to put it in the middle of the map or on the lane. That was intended for the princess, but I missed. At this point, I really don't know what to do because none of my cards counter that princess except my miner. I like to use my miner for pushing because it's the tank of this deck. Fortunately, this horrible portion of the game was towards the end. There it is, log. That's exactly what I needed to counter all his cards. An arrows or a fireball might have done even better. You have to use a kind of like defensive miner, which is never good. At this point, I put it on a Goblin Gang just to distract. Although it actually countered elite barbs pretty well, so it's an indirect nerf to elite barbs. And it's an indirect buff to bait decks, which have just gone up in the meta. So I'm not sure what they'll do about that. It's also an indirect nerf to Sparky because it kills Sparky. Seems like everything kills Sparky nowadays. Anything can kill Sparky if you just wait till it shoots your tower once. Except Ice Whiz. Ice Whiz doesn't do a lot of damage per second. Although I think if you wait till it shoots your tower once, then you put down the Ice Whiz, it'll actually take it out before Sparky gets another hit on the tower. Now the Ice Whiz will die. When I was fighting Malmits with an Executioner deck, with an Executioner Battle Ram deck, that's why I did those battles, because I put Battle Ram in it, which was just released globally today. When I put Battle Ram in there, but I also put Sparky in it because a lot of his good cards get wrecked by Sparky. Like the Princess, the Ice Wizard, Lumberjack, all sorts of cards. Now, one more game I wanted to show you was a defeat, because that way it's just fair. And this one's another one against a miner deck. And it's kind of... Sorry about that, my screen recorder just tripped a little bit. Now this is, as I was saying, another guy with a miner deck. I've got miner too. And he's got baiting cards. He's got the Goblin Barrel, he's got the Skarmy, and my only cards that can counter that is the Princess, which earlier killed my bait deck, and the Log. But he's also got Log, Ice Spirit, and Poison, which does area denial for a bunch of time. So that was obnoxious against my deck. That's most of the reason I lost, because it took out an entire minion horde. And minion horde was one of my biggest, most investment cards. And like, it's just huge to the deck. And to countering a minor Goblin Barrel. Something interesting with this guy, a lot of times he was using his miner and Goblin Barrel separately. I don't know if his rotation was off and he was just impatient or what, but that was one of the few times in the entire game that he used them separately. Here I put down a Goblin Gang because he just used his Log. His Musketeer actually does some good work against it. It takes it down surprisingly well from range with the tower. And here I was in indecision for a while, so that allows the miner to get like 3 or 4 hits off on the tower. There it is, the Poison for the first time, wrecking me. I thought the minion horde was going to take it out, but the Poison just wrecked so hard. I had my Log ready for the Skarmy, but the Skarmy got taken out by the Ice Golem, so I'm just going to sit here for some time. Princess, just a chip, and he gets the Log down. Really fast, too. So then I do this. And I managed to log the Goblin Barrel just in time, so I can take it out for a positive elixir trade. Here I can minion horde his miner to take it out. The miner still gets 2 hits off, and then the Poison added to that is over 500 damage chipped. Now it cost him 2 elixir, but it was still insane. It's 500 damage on the tower for 2 elixir, and in this game, which is a chippy game. Unfortunately, I thought there was a miner coming. I don't know how. My mind just thought minor when I saw that. So that made me take another 300 damage. But at this point, we can still come back. Well, with his deck, it'll be difficult. Should have put the Goblin Gang down back on the minor. And here a bomb tower, since I've got a bait deck, a zap bait deck, it just ruins me. The poison makes it so it... There it is again. I thought it was a minor. I don't know what was wrong with me with that game. Well, that was really cool. The miner went underneath the bomb tower, and at exactly that time it died, so it looked like the miner exploded underground. And here I know he can just chip me out, because he's got a very good deck for chipping. Boom, there it is, poison again. Stops my minion horde completely. Now there, I didn't have anything that countered it, so I take hundreds of damage. Goblin Gang takes out miner amazingly well. Then his log just wrecks me. So that was my attempt to simulate Goblin Gang. I feel like in an actual battle it would do better. But I had 4 wins and 4 losses in that. So Goblin Gang seems like it's going to be a pretty versatile card at all levels. Well, from Jungle Arena up. I feel like it's a card that could be used at all levels though, so putting it at Jungle Arena seems like a kind of weird move for Supercell to make. The other cards in here, Dark Goblin, that has to be used really well. An Executioner, that has to be used really well. But Goblin Gang, that doesn't need really careful use. All the cards at Frozen Peak, they need careful use. And at here, there's less careful use, like Royal Giant and Elite Barbs. Those are the 2 of the easiest cards to use in the entire game. But then you've got 3 Musks, which because of its elixir cost, that has to be used carefully. So you'll notice that the higher we go, the more carefully you need to use your cards. So here you can see the deck I was using. It's a Giant Executioner deck. I also added in Sparky and Princess. Tornado was good with Executioner and Princess, and with Sparky because they're all splash damage cards. Then I added in the log just for versatility and counters. The Inferno Tower goes well with this deck because it doesn't have any other buildings or good tank counters, which was good against his Valkyrie because otherwise all the cards in this deck died of Valkyrie. Now I could use a Sparky to counter it, but that's ineffective. The last game we had to leave towards the end of, so I'm only going to show you the first 2. The first one was closer, and then I learned his deck and learned how to counter the Valkyrie push, because my rotation was off or something during his first Valkyrie push, so that gave him some advantage. But second game, yeah, Sparky killed everything. Only card that I didn't have good counter to was Inferno Dragon, but if you tornado it out of range, and then I've got some air damagers, so I just got to get rid of it. Let's jump in and watch. Now, Meowmits, it's great making videos with him because I can friendly battle him all the time. We've been staying in the same clan for a lot, but he's kind of scrubby, so usually I win against him. But that also makes it good to make videos with him. Now, see, he requested this one. He's in Jungle Arena now. Not as much of a scrub as he used to be, but still a scrub. Now, look at that push right there. That push right there, I was literally lagging at the very start of the game, so I couldn't stop it. Yeah, that's what killed my tower. I thought it was a Valkyrie push. Maybe that did some work to my other tower and messed me up or something. Yeah, here he does a Valkyrie push, but yeah, it was really just at the start I was lagging a lot. So here, I bring in the Sparky, which is a card he really hates because it counters all of his good cards. And I'm bringing in a nice fundamental push. Now, the Sparky died, but it managed to get a hit off and kill everything. Then I just keep adding to the push, countering all of his cards that he's trying to use to stop it, and I win. I 3-counted like 10 seconds ago, so commentary was a little slow on that one. I'll reduce it to only ×2 for double elixir time on the next replay, so we can actually see what's going on and I can actually commentate it. Remember, bad times crew, good times are waiting for you in the bad times crew. Right, now here I've got the Sparky down, which counters the Princess, and I've also got an Inferno Tower, which counters the Princess. Now I could use my Executioner or my Log to counter the Princess, but I'm better using the Log, and the Executioner is a lot bigger of a commitment, especially if I want to use Executioner to support Sparky. Let's just decrease the time of this so I can talk. And there you got the Sparky, and supported with the Executioner, just like I wanted to do. Now, at this point, the reason he did that was because I was saying, my Sparky counters every card in your deck. I said that to him. It was like, not these two cards. So then he logs and tornadoes it. And I'm like, lulz. It was hilarious. But then I can put down this princess and not worry about it. So then I've got a raged... No, he's got raged. And then I just take out his tower with that princess. I use the Sparky to take down a princess, which is really overkill. But when you hit the giant too, it's wrecking. Then I put down a giant to add with the Sparky. Add the battle ram as a delivery mechanism. And I can put the Executioner in. There he just used the tornado to tornado back the Sparky so it wouldn't kill his tower as fast. But the push, he just ran low on elixir because I just countered his push and he won. I won. So Battle Ram is going to be a pretty good card for pushing your push forward once it gets onto their side. Because when it's on your side, you want it to stay on their side for as long as possible so that you can keep building up troops behind it. But then once it's on their side, you want to shove it forward. So the charge of the Battle Ram is going to help shove it forward. And also, once it gets the tower, it'll do some damage, and then you got the barb supporting your push and adding to it and just wrecking everything. With Executioner, I found in the Battle Ram challenge, I found everybody was using an Executioner Electro Wizard deck. I'm not going to see Electro Wizard as much in ladder because not everybody has the Electro Wizard since it's a legendary card. I'm glad they made it legendary. Otherwise, it would completely destroy Sparky. Sparky would be out of the game. Sparky's already low, not used much at Arena 10. It's good in Arena 8. But you're going to see a lot more Executioner and Electro Wizard coming around soon. I can predict that. And because it synergizes really well with that, because the Battle Ram is a good thing for shoving your pushes forward and getting them to the tower fast. And then you've got the damage per second in the Electro Wiz, and you've got support in that and the Executioner. It really synergizes well and makes it for a great push. That's what I was trying to do. Now, I didn't have the Electro Wizard, but I had Sparky, which is the next best thing. They're both electric, right? No, not really. But anyways, it was a pretty fun game battling against him and using this deck, which will probably be around a lot more. Now, he's only at 2,600 trophies, so it might not be as good at 3,200 where I am, but it could be good to try out once I get the Electro Wizard, which I'm hoping for. Come on. Really? Really? So, thanks for watching. I've got a giveaway going on right now. That'll end at the end of this weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. But that'll end at the end of this 3-day weekend. So, thanks for watching. And watch some more videos soon.